Hi, I'm Brian. I'm an independent artist based in LA. I make indie pop, alt pop, and hyper pop. Back in 2020, I didn't really have much else to do. And so I just remembered that I would be listening to a lot of music, and it ended up just becoming like a part of my routine. And at some point I was like, what if I did that too? Like, what if I could make stuff that made me like that emotional? And so I just like took my iPad mini that was like way outdated. I asked my parents to buy me a $10 camera mic, and I just started recording stuff from there. I got really into music production. I never actually used my voice for a while. And then, just slowly I started to become more confident in my abilities and started working with people. And then that just really helped me out to become the musician I am today. This is a funny thing about it that I say all the time. The album was never supposed to be made. It sort of built itself naturally. I started back in 2023 with a song called Promise Me You'll Be Okay. It was a much more vulnerable kind of song where I realized that I was holding back a lot of what I've been saying in past songs, and I wanted to take the time to truly be vulnerable of who I am and what I think about in my life. And from then on, I just started writing more and more and being a lot more open in my songs. And then eventually I realized like, oh, I have this like somewhat cohesive story, and I just wanted to, I guess, put it all together into one, even though like some of the tracks were already released. So I just kept writing more and more things, and eventually this entire album was born into it. And a lot of the common things in the album is just a lot of the fears that I had, whether it be relationships or internal issues of mine. A big portion of the album has to deal with the concept of time and looking back into the past, not liking who I was, looking at the present and wanting to change something about me, and just being scared of the future. I know that I'm growing up, and a lot of the album has to deal with that idea of what will happen later on, and how do I function as a person, and what am I doing, and just a lot of very basic human fears that we all have, and I just wanted to express it in the most authentic way that I could. Yeah, there are a lot of fear, there's a lot of things that really push this album from not becoming an album. First of all, I'm a student, so it's really difficult to be able to manage me being an academic and me being a musician. It was really tough finding that balance, especially in making this album, because it's so intensive. I remember that some days I'd come home at I'd be on campus for 12 hours, and I'd get home and just get to producing till 3 a.m. and just do it all over again the next day. And I don't know how, but that's the life I was living for a little bit. But I mean, I think it was worth it. I just had to make that sacrifice in order to create what I wanted to. Being an independent artist is definitely not easy. I don't have much backing. I had to assemble my own team, and thankfully I have a lot of friends that were willing to just help me out on the project. And honestly, if I didn't have this many people working on it with me, I probably wouldn't have made the album. So shout out to everyone that worked on it. Specifically Steven, the executive producer on the album, and Elmer and Xander, who did almost all of the visuals, because they did such a great job, and I really hope that it translates well when people get to see everything. I love this question because I did think about this a lot, because I feel like this would come up at some point with people. But I would say for sure that my favorite track, and the track I'm most proud of, is called Epistasis. it is so weird, and I love it for that. I think it is the best, like, it's the most vulnerable I've ever been on a song, and in my opinion, I capture the feeling of being scared of the future so well, and like sort of this existentialism, overthinking about like the purpose of life and all that. And it's such like a weirdly formatted song, just in general. Like you will hear that it takes from so many different inspirations at the same time. It was the hardest song that Steve and I had to go through. There were so many mixes, so many new things in the production, remasters, and then remixes again. It took almost a full year to actually get the song fully developed, on and off, because there was nothing that like we could necessarily compare it to give a basis on how it is. And I think I love it for that, because I think it turned out so well. And I mean, it's like one of like my original productions on the album. So I'm just really proud of that song, because it's me. The main message that I'd love to give to the listeners when they listen to the album is just that, you know, life isn't going to be perfect, but it's okay that it's not perfect. I very much go into detail about all of my flaws and my insecurities, everything that I fear. But at the very, very end, you know, as long as you try your best with just living, doing what you want, it's okay. That's all you can do. I'm very much excited for once the album actually drops, to do live shows. I love performing live. Ever since performing for the first time with Next World, I just like had an urge to just keep performing. And there are parts of the album that I just cannot wait to like play in front of a crowd, because they're just so good. I can hear it all in my mind. I just need it to happen. And I mean, you know, I will just say this. There's always a little PS at the end of every letter. And then, do you guys want to move out before the sprinklers go?
We're almost done.
Okay. No, we gotta go. We gotta go.